Hi, I'm Rob Vanstone, and today I'd like to affectionately remember my favorite football game of all time. It was October 29th, 1978 at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. It was a meaningless game for both teams. The Eskimos had clinched first place in the West Division and would go on to win their first of 5 consecutive Grey Cups. The Roughriders, they were just playing out the string. They had 3 victories and 1 tie going into the final game. But what made it magical was the presence of Ron Lancaster. 1 week earlier, the Roughriders had played host to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. It was Ron Lancaster's final game as a player at Taylor Field. However, he didn't start at quarterback that day. Larry Dick, a rookie out of Maryland, was being groomed as Ronnie's heir apparent, so Riders head coach Walt Pozadowski, with the assent of Lancaster, started Larry Dick at quarterback. But in the fourth quarter, the Riders' offense needed some life. They put Ronnie in the game. He proceeded to throw back-to-back interceptions, and the Roughriders ended up losing 13-7, and it was ugly. Some fans, and I really shouldn't even call them fans, booed Ron Lancaster in his final game as a player at Taylor Field. After that game against Winnipeg, there was outrage. People from across the country were furious. People were phoning the Leader Post to complain about the manner in which Ron Lancaster had been treated. Bob Hughes wrote a column in the Leader Post, rightfully excoriating the people who had booed Ron Lancaster. But thankfully, there was one more game remaining. The Riders went to Edmonton. Again, Larry Dick was the starting quarterback, and he did very well in the early stages. He threw a couple of touchdown passes to Rodney Parker and Joey Walters, and it was really a pretty good football game. But nobody could ignore the presence of Ron Lancaster on the sideline. Everybody in the stadium that day wanted to see him play. It wasn't just a small group of Rough Rider fans who were clamoring for Ron Lancaster to be inserted into the game. The Eskimo fans wanted to see him. They were chanting, "We want Ronnie." There were signs paying tribute to Ron Lancaster and his career. So, with slightly more than 10 minutes left in the game, Riders head coach Walt Pozadowski acceded to the wishes of the masses and put Ron Lancaster into the game. And as he jogged out onto the field, he was greeted by Eskimos cornerback Larry Highbaugh, who extended his hand. Years later, in typically self-deprecating fashion, Ronnie said, "Of course Larry Highbaugh should have shook my hand. I threw him so many interceptions, I probably put him in the Hall of Fame." Not long after entering the game, Lancaster throws a touchdown pass to Joey Walters to create a 26-26 tie. Bob McAreedy adds the convert. The small group of Rough Rider fans who were there are cheering the fact that the Riders are now ahead in the game. But more importantly, I think Eskimo fans are going, wow, they're loving this. The Eskimos are now trailing, but everybody is just loving what Ron Lancaster is doing. And it didn't stop there. After the Walters touchdown, the Eskimos assumed possession of the football, but Jim Germany fumbled and the Rough Riders recovered inside Eskimo territory. Ronnie proceeded to throw a pass to Brian O'Hara, who caught the ball inside the 5-yard line. That turned out to be the final pass of Lancaster's career. Brian O'Hara, incidentally, had played college football at Whitworth College, where the head coach at the time was Hugh Campbell, who was the Eskimos' head coach on that day at Commonwealth Stadium. And Lancaster and Campbell, of course, had formed a lethal pass-catch combination for the Rough Riders in the 1960s, so I think it was appropriate that Hugh Campbell was there that day. Anyway, it doesn't even stop with Ron Lancaster scoring the 1-yard touchdown to give the Rough Riders some insurance against the Eskimos that day. Of course, the Eskimos fans are still going nuts over the fact that the visiting quarterback has come into town, entered the game, and engineered a comeback victory, which turned out to be the 50th comeback that Lancaster had engineered as a Rider quarterback. But there was still another nice little punctuation mark to apply to that game. Eskimos' final possession, Warren Moon, a future Hall of Fame quarterback not only in Canada, but in the States, dropped back to pass, and he was sacked in the end zone by Bill Baker. Bill Baker, a future Canadian Football Hall of Famer, a Rider legend, ended up registering a safety touch for the Rough Riders on that sack of Warren Moon. That was the last game of Bill Baker's Canadian football career. So not only did Ron Lancaster end his career in fitting fashion, but Bill Baker had the quarterback sack of a legend named Warren Moon. That was the end of the scoring, and the Rough Riders won 36-26. So that's my favorite football game of all time. I've seen so many amazing moments in Rider history. They've won Grey Cups. One of those Grey Cups was won at Taylor Field, another storybook ending. But to this day, and I presume for the rest of my days, no game will come close to that of October 29th, 1978 in Edmonton. Only 1 week after being booed at Taylor Field, Ron Lancaster gets one more chance. He comes into the game, engineers one of his patented comeback victories, and went out on top. Went out in quintessential Ron Lancaster fashion. That game, that ending, was just perfect. It will always be my favorite of all time. Thanks for sharing these memories with me. If you'd like to share some more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're doing a number of Rough Rider videos. If you'd like, press a little bell insignia and you'll be notified as future videos become available. Thanks very much and have a great day.